think he was doing a sit down on a podcast one time, and he talked about it. He said, I don't want to do an exhibition against Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
He said, I'm only doing real fights. And of course, I can't get up high in weight, but I'll fight him in a real fight at the weight that, as long as he continues to fight MMA guys and YouTubers, he's gonna continue to look good and shine. But once he fights a real fighter, a real fighter that can really fight, it's not gonna be that.
Floyd Mayweather slams Jake Paul for fighting YouTubers and MMA retirees, challenging him to a real fight at his natural weight class. On the other end, David Morrell expressed that he feels bad for his icon, the legend Mike Tyson, and says that the age gap was huge. He emphasized that he thanked God that anything bad didn't happen, and Tyson came out healthy.
I think he was doing a sit down on a podcast one time, and he talked about it. He said, I don't want to do an exhibition against Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
He said, I'm only doing real fights. And of course, I can't get up high in weight, but I'll fight him in a real fight at the weight that, as long as he continues to fight MMA guys and YouTubers, he's gonna continue to look good and shine. But once he fights a real fighter, a real fighter that can really fight, it's not gonna be that.
Tommy Fury has shared his doubts about Mike Tyson potentially returning to the ring, especially if it involves a similar setup to his previous exhibition bouts or a fight with Logan Paul. Fury believes that while such events might still generate money, they wouldn't attract the same level of public interest as before. He noted the boos Tyson received during his last fight and suggested the novelty may have worn off, predicting significantly lower numbers if it happens again.
What do you think about Mike Tyson, Jake Paul? Did you watch the fight?
Yeah, no, man. It's feel bad, you know. My legend, my friend is down, but don't know it's the lows, but man, it's old, you know. It's 58 years. I mean, you look strong, you look everything, but like 58 years, it's too much. It's too much for 27 years. I mean, 27 or 20?
27. Yes.
27 years is too much. It's too much, but you know, first God, anything happens. So. That's cool.
Oscar De La Hoya criticized the Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul fight, calling it a horrible fight from the start. He pointed out Tyson's struggles during the walkout and his clear fatigue early in the fight, specifically noting how Tyson, at 58 years old, was a shadow of his former self. De La Hoya dismissed the idea that fans could expect the Mike Tyson of the 90s to show up and dominate, calling it wishful thinking for those hoping to see the legendary knockout artist of his prime.
Your thoughts of Mike Tyson potentially returning to the ring and Logan as well too, maybe having a piece of the action?
Listen, if it's just going to be what they did before, then it's no problem, is it? You know, Mike's not going to get hurt. They're going to get a load of money, but I don't think the public will tune into that again. That's one thing. I think if they were going to do that again, I think they would get maybe even less than half of the numbers that they got last time, because there was a lot of people booing in that arena, and how it's been received worldwide, it's not been great. So I think that was kind of a one-hit wonder, but we'll see what happens.
Oscar De La Hoya went further to suggest that the fight between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul was staged, claiming it was scripted and that Tyson was deliberately held back. De La Hoya, a fighter himself, pointed out that the fight was officially sanctioned, implying that Jake Paul paid for a win on his record. He questioned Paul's aspirations of being a real fighter, expressing frustration and challenging him to face actual fighters rather than continue with such staged fights.
All right, Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul was by its nature a horrible fight right from the start. It was just awful. Mike almost fell down during his walkout. And he was on quicksand since the first 10 seconds of the fight. Oh, and did you see that 58-year-old ass? It was wishful thinking for all those idiots who thought they were going to get Mike Tyson of the 90s come out and rip somebody's head off. Now, everyone is talking about how staged this fight was. I do believe it was scripted. And I believe that Tyson was certainly held back. Look, I'm a fighter and I can see it. It goes on the record and it was sanctioned. So Jake Paul paid to get the W on his record? For what? For your own personal satisfaction? I keep telling you, if you want to be a real fighter, like you say you want to be, what are you doing?
Shit, I don't even know.
Like, who's next? Joe Biden? You have to fight real.
Leonard Ellerbe expressed admiration for Mike Tyson's recent performance in the ring at 58 years old, noting his ability to go 8 rounds and acknowledging the legendary fighter's enduring appeal. Ellerbe praised Tyson for securing a substantial payday and reflected on how much more lucrative Tyson's career might have been with modern promotional strategies.
Your actual thoughts on Mike Tyson's effort in the ring against Jake Paul? 58 years old. He went 8 rounds, 60 minutes.
Nothing but the utmost respect for Mike. Mike is Mike. You know.
I'm happy he got that paycheck from that fight.
Yeah, me too. Well, I can't even imagine if we would have been working with Mike when Mike was Mike.
Stephen A. Smith speculated that Jake Paul deliberately held back during his bout with Mike Tyson, suggesting Paul chose not to go all out of compassion. He believed Paul recognized Tyson's vulnerability, noting that Tyson, nearly 60 years old and 31 years Paul's senior, appeared fatigued early in the fight, especially with shortened 2-minute rounds. Smith believed that Paul recognized it would be harmful to everyone involved, especially Tyson, if he pressed harder in the fight and ultimately chose to show respect for the boxing legend.
I think Jake did it on purpose. I think that he didn't want to do it. I think he knew that he could take Tyson out, and he just felt bad for him, and he thought it would be bad for him. He thought it would be bad for all parties concerned for him to take Tyson out. Tyson walked into the ring stumbling. And then in the first round, it's 2 minutes, not 3 minutes. And I saw Tyson tired. But I think ultimately being in the ring with a guy that's 31 years older than you, approaching 60 years of age, compassion kicked in, and he was like, this is Mike Tyson. I really, really don't want to hurt this guy.
The undefeated Floyd Mayweather shared his thoughts on Jake Paul, recalling a time when Paul stated he didn't want to do exhibitions, only real fights. Paul had mentioned he would be willing to fight Mayweather at his own weight, though Mayweather acknowledged that Paul's current approach works for him. However, Mayweather warned that once Paul faces a true, skilled fighter, the outcome would be far less favorable for him. Mayweather further stated that as long as Jake Paul continues to fight MMA fighters and YouTubers, he will continue to look good and shine. However, he warned that once Paul steps into the ring with a true, skilled fighter, the outcome will be very different, and it won't be as favorable for him.
I think he was doing a sit down on a podcast one time, and he talked about it. He said, I don't want to do an exhibition against Floyd Mayweather. Yeah. He said, I'm only doing real fights. And of course, I can't get up high in weight, but I'll fight him in a real fight at the weight that I'm at. But Jake Paul, I mean, as of right now, for what he's doing, it's good for what he's doing. But once he fights a real fighter, it's going to be bad. As long as he continues to fight MMA guys and YouTubers, he's going to continue to look good and shine. But once he fights a real fighter that can really fight, it's not going to be that good.
Does he have the ability, with what you've seen, to continue to mold himself into somebody who can actually? He told me before his goal is to fight Canelo, so that's where his mindset's at.
He get f***ed by Canelo. Oh, I'm sorry, it's TMT.
You can curse. You can curse.
David Benavidez shared his thoughts on the Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul fight, calling it a good event, but expressing that he doesn't want to see Tyson continue fighting. He felt Tyson should retire, acknowledging that while it was a good payday for Tyson, a 58-year-old version of the boxing legend is a different fighter. Benavidez also addressed the idea of Jake Paul seeking older, less active boxers for his bouts, saying that at the end of the day, it's the fighter's choice if they agree to the fight and sign the contract, and that responsibility lies with them.
What did you think about Mike Tyson, David? What did you think about the Mike Tyson fight?
To be honest with you, I think it was a good fight, good turnout, but I don't want to see Mike Tyson fight no more. I think he hopefully hangs it up. I think it was a good show, but shit, he needs to retire.
Were you irritated watching the fight with Mike Tyson and Jake Paul? Are you one of the fighters that had taken umbrage with Jake Paul's victory over Mike Tyson and wanted revenge at?
If he would have tried to hurt Mike Tyson, maybe, but you know what I mean? Mike Tyson, he went in there, he made a good paycheck, and he deserves that, you know what I mean? I'm just happy that he didn't get hurt in there, because at the end of the day, Mike Tyson's Mike Tyson, but a 6-year-old Mike Tyson is a different Mike Tyson, you know what I mean? So I feel like it was a good event.
What do you think about the way that Jake Paul's going about things, sort of looking for boxers out on the outskirts of health and career, older guys?
I mean, at the end of the day, you're your own man. If you agree to the fight, you sign the contract, then that's on you.
Darren Till reflected on the nature of the fight game, suggesting that everyone is driven by the pursuit of money and will do anything for a payday. He implied that if he were offered the chance to fight a 58-year-old like Mike Tyson, he might consider it, highlighting how financial incentives play a significant role in decisions within the sport.
Probably, yeah. Like what are we? What's the word? We're all just begs for money, aren't we? Anyone will do anything for a dollar. So yeah, do you know what I mean? So if you're asking me if I'd sell my ass to fight a 58-year-old, then yeah.
Dana White commented on the Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul fight, emphasizing that whenever Tyson steps into the spotlight, everyone makes money because he's the main attraction. He pointed out Tyson's physical struggles, such as tripping during his walkout and needing a knee brace, yet Jake Paul still couldn't do much against him. White acknowledged the financial success of the event, while also noting that despite the criticism, those who stayed home on a Saturday night didn't pay for the fight.
When Mike Tyson shows up, everybody makes money. Mike Tyson is the A+++ side of that thing. And you saw him, he tripped when he was walking down the thing. He had a hard time walking up the stairs. He had a knee brace on, and Jake Paul couldn't do anything to him. He made a ton of money. And I know people are mad you stayed home on a Saturday night, but you didn't pay for it.
Sean O'Malley was glad Mike Tyson didn't get hurt in his fight with Jake Paul, though he admitted it was tough to watch towards the end when Paul landed solid punches. Regarding Jake's future, O'Malley questioned the likelihood of him facing top fighters like Canelo Alvarez or Gervonta Davis, but expressed excitement for whatever Jake does next, knowing it will be a major event.
I was happy how it played out. I'm glad Mike didn't get hurt.
Was it a hard watch towards the end?
It was a little bit. Every time Jake would land a nice left hook or right hand, I'd go, ooh.
What more do you want to see from Jake next? He's calling out the likes of Canelo, he spoke about Tank Davis in the past, some of the youth mentioned. Do you think they're just kind of pipe dreams for him?
You know what? Whatever Jake does next is going to be huge, and I'm going to be excited for it.
KSI emphasized that Jake Paul's victory over Mike Tyson was largely due to his youth and physical strength, giving him an unfair advantage. Tyson, being much older and in decline, was at a disadvantage from the start. KSI argued that Jake should have avoided the fight to protect his credibility, but noted that Jake had no hesitation in taking it, frustrating genuine boxing fans in the process.
Jake Paul not realizing that he is, well, Mike Tyson is an OAP. He's an old man and had no right to be in the ring. And Jake Paul is in his prime. Prime. So it was, I thought it was just, the whole thing was embarrassing, especially that Jake took the fight. But it's Jake. Jake doesn't give a shit. He has no shit.
Dave Coldwell characterized the fight as a challenging evening for Mike Tyson, pointing out that the early burst of energy quickly dissipated after the first 30 seconds. He noted that Tyson struggled throughout, with his mobility and endurance deteriorating after the second round. Coldwell praised Jake Paul for fighting intelligently, minimizing risks and dictating the tempo. From his view, Tyson remained mostly stationary in the middle of the ring, unable to move effectively. He called the entire scene disheartening, emphasizing the decline in Tyson's performance.
Then, it was always going to be a very, very difficult night for Mike Tyson, and after the first 30 seconds, minute, you saw that it just got gradually, well, not gradually, rapidly after the second round. You can see that the little bright sparks had completely diminished, and it just looked like it was hard work for him for the course of the fight. And Jake Paul did what he had to do. He was smart. He was not taking too many chances, and it just looked like, for the majority of the fight, from my point of view and from what I've seen, is that Tyson was just stood centre of the ring and really couldn't really move. It was sad. It was so sad to see.
Eddie Hearn stated that while the first 30 seconds of the fight were entertaining, the rest was hard to watch. He acknowledged the large turnout and viewership, but emphasized that the fight wasn't for him. Hearn praised Tyson's heart, but didn't want to see him struggle in the ring. He also noted that Jake Paul came out strong, but quickly gassed out.
I watched the first 30 seconds, which were quite entertaining, and then after it was just horrible to watch. And that's, I just, did you enjoy watching most of that fight? It was hard to watch, but it was always going to be like that. But it doesn't have to be. They're not making this for me. Look how many people turned up. Look how many people tuned in. So I can't knock it. It's just not for me. And that's not disrespectful. I love boxing. I don't want to see Mike Tyson stuck in quicksand. And he showed unbelievable heart, by the way. No one wants to see that happening to Mike Tyson.
About the 30 seconds that you saw, I mean, I know Jake Paul was.
They got pillows on. They got 14-ounce gloves on. You know, I mean, he come out like a raging bull. But after that, he was gassed. But Mike's a legend, and he showed a load of heart, but you just don't need to see it, man.
Shakur Stevenson posted on X, "Look like Jake got a good heart, he is not gone. Try glad he's not trying to knock my boy out." Tyron Woodley expressed discomfort watching Mike Tyson in his recent fight, feeling it was hard to see the legend in that condition. He believed Tyson's prime peekaboo style, which made him unstoppable, was missing, as Tyson couldn't close the distance without risking Jake Paul's jab. Despite this, Woodley respected Tyson for lasting 8 rounds, acknowledging that not many boxers could do the same. Woodley also compared Tyson's situation to his own experience, suggesting that even if he stepped into a wrestling match now, the newer generation would have an edge due to evolving techniques and more frequent practice. He emphasized that while Tyson is still in good shape, it was clear the fight wasn't the same as the Iron Mike of the past.
I mean, I didn't want to see Mike like that, man. I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to see him like that because if he had it in him, he would have did it. He didn't have it in him, and I feel like his peekaboo style and him cutting the distance off, back in the day, he was up on you. He was in your face, you couldn't stop him. You couldn't get to him. And Jake's like, shit, I don't want to go too close, because if I get in there, he might hit me with it, right? So it's kind of like him using jabs, one to fire off, but you got to respect Mike no matter what the age say. And Mike, I just think, I don't know.
Steven Espinoza noted that many were hoping to see the old Mike Tyson, but instead, they saw a fighter who, at 58, showed his age. While Tyson performed better than most men his age could, it was clear that his prime had passed.
I think we're all hoping to see a little flash of the old Mike, and we saw like someone who, you know, I wish I'd seen the old Mike. You know, not to take anything from Jake, but you know, Mike looks his age, and you know, he should. Look, I take that back. He did a lot better than a lot of 58-year-olds would have done. But, you know,
Is Jake good for the sport?
I think it is. About 70,000 people out. He and Mike.
Terrence Crawford posted on X, "I love Mike Tyson, but they giving him too much credit. He looked like trash to train that long and only throw 97 punches. The whole fight is crazy. I'm just glad he didn't get hurt out there." Spencer Fearon speculated that Jake Paul may have gone easy on Mike Tyson during their bout, suggesting that had Jake been more aggressive, the result could have changed. He pointed out Tyson's visible decline, mentioning the knee brace and his struggles during training, which highlighted that he wasn't the same fighter he was 4 years ago when he faced Roy Jones Jr. Fearon didn't believe the fight was choreographed in terms of specific actions, but felt that Jake may have restrained himself, possibly out of respect for Tyson, to avoid knocking out a legend.
What I think it was is more to the fact like Jake Paul carried Mike Tyson. You know what I mean? Because I think like if he'd have stuck it on him, which he could have done, then it would have been totally different. And like, what was it? 4 years ago that him and Roy Jones, right? Mike Tyson and Roy Jones. 4 years ago. That Tyson was a lot more sharper, a lot more tenacious, right? You know what I mean? When I see you walking out, you got a knee brace on, and there was times where I was seeing Mike Tyson, even in the workouts and all the rest of what he was doing, and I could see that he was old. He was old. You know what I mean? So I don't think it was scripted to the fact of like, they went through the fight, you're gonna throw this right hand. No, I think it was scripted to the fact of like, you know what? I'm not going to knock out a legend, right? Yeah. And like, so people really think that I'm a piss taker because there's times to me that Jake Paul carried him, right? That's what it looked like.
Evander Holyfield remarked that the Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul fight was lacking, highlighting Tyson's unsteady balance due to a leg issue. He expressed surprise when Tyson's trainer confirmed that this problem affected Tyson's stability. Holyfield also acknowledged Jake Paul as a decent fighter with potential for growth, but didn't propose a specific opponent for Paul's next match.
What did you think of the fight?
It wasn't a good one.
It wasn't a good one. No. Yeah. Overall, how'd you just see how Jake fought, how Mike fought?
Well, you know, you can tell something was wrong with the Tyson leg. So he couldn't. His balance was off.
Oh, that's crazy. You noticed that. I just talked to his trainer, and he told me that exact thing.
Yeah.
His balance was off.
His balance was off.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. You know, overall, like, how do you see Jake growing from this, and who do you want to see him fight against now?
Well, you know, I'm like, he's a pretty good fighter.
Andre Ward emphasized that Mike Tyson is always Mike Tyson, with his presence and charisma that make you believe in his power. Ward acknowledged Tyson's ability to talk the talk and give off that intense look that makes opponents feel his energy. He urged people to appreciate the fight for what it was, encouraging everyone to enjoy the situation without overanalyzing or expecting too much.
You know, I get it, man. Mike is Mike, right? We all want Mike. Hold on, man. Oh, we got time. I ain't trying to get hit in this crosswalk. Mike is Mike. Mike's gonna talk the talk. He gonna have a look in his eyes, gonna make you believe. You know, I'm right there with you on that. But like, man, I hope y'all just enjoy the situation. And
Roy Jones Jr. shared that witnessing Mike Tyson's focused energy was reassuring, as it confirmed the fight was genuine. He noted that the 2-minute rounds suited Tyson, but pointed out that Jake Paul, being younger, would likely become more dominant as the fight continued. Jones recommended Jake to box intelligently, keep his distance, and try to wear Tyson down by making him move, potentially taking advantage of Tyson's fatigue as the rounds went on.
I mean, that's Mike. That's vintage Mike. I was glad to see it, actually, because it means that Mike ain't out here just going through the motion. He's serious about it, you know, so I liked it.
Yeah, like his energy was like very calming throughout the week.
Yes, it was until now. And the fact that it came out now, I'm glad to see that, because if I hadn't saw that, I would be worried that this fight may not even be for real.
How do you see the fight, given how Mike and you guys fought a few years back?
2-minute rounds are good for Mike, but Jake gonna get stronger as the fight goes, because Jake's a younger guy. So I think Jake is smart to go out and probably try to box Mike early, but keep his distance. And if he can get Mike a little fatigued, make like Mike use his legs a little bit, try to get him, you know?
Claressa Shields expressed deep respect for Mike Tyson, calling him flawless in her eyes. She enjoyed watching him fight, acknowledging that while fans might have hoped for a knockout, Tyson's age of 58 meant they should appreciate his bravery in stepping into the ring. Shields still considers him the toughest man alive. Regarding Jake Paul, she didn't think he went easy on Tyson, but instead felt Jake was playing a smart and calculated game throughout the match.
What did you think about it? Were you happy with Mike's performance?
Listen, I love Mike Tyson. He can do no wrong in my eyes. Him getting inside the ring and everything just brought me so much joy to be able to see with my own eyes. I mean, yeah, of course you want to see Mike Tyson knock somebody out, but he's 58, man, and I'm just happy I got to witness it tonight, and he's the baddest man on the planet to me, still. Still, baddest man on the planet.
Do you think Jake took it a little easy on him?
No, I think Jake was trying to set him up for the okie doke. He was trying to play.
So what are your thoughts on this? Share your thoughts in the comment section and make sure to subscribe and like if you enjoyed the video.